Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns. I feel like they've been one of the most, if not maybe the most confusing team in the NBA so far this season. They've been very up and down, inconsistencies. We're going to talk all about the Phoenix Suns here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Links to my Twitters and all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So the Phoenix Suns, they've been a team that has been very confusing to me. I don't know if it's just me, but it might be the entire NBA scene. They're very interesting and confusing. Obviously they had the year last year. They traded for Bradley Beal, had expectations, got swept in the first round. Not a great end to the year. Fired their coach, bringing Mike Budenholzer. They have a really solid offseason. I kind of bought myself back into the Phoenix Suns, and when they started the year, they started off hot. They started 8-1, and were looking really good. Last year, they were one of the worst fourth quarter teams. They flipped that around. Everything was going right, and it was like, oh man, here are the Phoenix Suns that we were hoping for, man. Then they had some injuries. Then they went up and down a little bit. Now they're currently on a skid, and now all of a sudden you look up, and they're 15-16, and they're 11th, looking outside of the play in the Western Conference. And it's like, man, since starting 81, they've gone 7-15 in their last 22 games. And it's been very rough. They've had a lot of injuries they've had to deal with, very inconsistent play. It's been very up and down. Looking at the numbers, they look fine. Number 9 offense is really good. Number 22 defense. That's been something that I feel like has been wavering. I think they started the year off pretty solid, and as the year gone on, I feel like their defense has kind of broken down a little bit. There've definitely been some moments and some games where it's like, man, the defense has not been, fully there. 17th in net rating. Offensively, they've been fine. They are taking a lot of threes now, a lot more threes at least. That's the Mike Budenholzer effect. They're 10th in three-pointers made, 11th in three-point attempts, 5th in three-point percentage. So they're getting their threes up. They're hitting their threes. They're not a good rebounding team, 24th in rebounds per game, 26th in second chance points. So they don't really rebound the ball a whole lot. 29th in points in the paint. So they're not really getting to the paint and scoring. A lot of their shots are either it's going to be mid-range and three-point attempts, which is fine, I guess, for the NBA, especially when you're, but also not when you're not. If you're not scoring in the paint, at least you should be maybe top 5 in three-point attempts and stuff, and they're 11th, which is okay, but maybe could be better. Defensively, all their stats don't look anything. There's nothing egregious there. Not like they're like 30th in anything or anything. A lot of their defensive stats are about average to a little bit below average. The only thing that really stands out is they're 28th in opponent turnovers per game, meaning they're not really forcing turnovers a whole lot, you know? So that's been one thing. And it's been interesting to watch this team because I still kind of don't really know what the problem is besides, I guess, injuries. I mean, statistically, you can look at it. They don't really score a lot in the paint. They rely a lot on, they're a jump shot happy team. And not even just threes like the Celtics. They're a heavy mid range and 3-point shooting type of team. They don't have a lot of size, and they don't force turnovers on defense. So that's not great. Um, it's still just very confusing to watch this team because you're like, dang, the players they have. You look at the roster, you're like, dang, that's pretty solid. But then you look at the record and you look at how they play, and you're like, huh. It's very interesting to me. And of course, the big thing has been the injuries. They put together this big three of KD, Booker, and Beal, and they haven't been able to consistently stay on the court. Last year, Bradley Beal missed a lot of time due to injury. It was really kind of just KD and Book out there for a lot of the season. And this year, it's been kind of a combination of different things. Out of the 31 games they played this year, only 2 guys have played in every game for the Suns. Tyus Jones and Royce O'Neal. Both have been having really good seasons. Tyus Jones is fitting right into point guard. Royce O'Neal has been one of the better role players in the NBA this season. He's been, a hard rock over there. But then you look around and there's been a lot of injuries to this team. I mean, not even to the star players. I mean, Yusuf Nurkic has missed 8 games. Grayson Allen's missed 8 games. Mason Plumlee missed a game. Monte Morris has played in 26. Ryan Dunn in 27 games. They miss a lot. And then you look at the stars. Kevin Durant has played 21 of 31 games. Bradley Beal's also played in 21 out of 31 games. Devin Booker has played in 26. So you have 2 of your top 3 guys have missed 10 games this season. And I was looking at the different records and looking at how things are going, and I made like a list of when the combinations of the big 3 when they play, how many games they won. So when the entire big 3 plays, when Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal all play, the Phoenix Suns are 8-3, which is a good record. 8-3 when your top three players play, that's pretty good. That's good. You're winning games more than you're losing. That's really nice. Then even they had a stretch when Kevin Durant and Devin Booker only played because Bradley Beal has been in and out of the lineup sometimes. Early in the year, at least, they kept him out maybe for like precautionary reasons. When Kevin Durant and Devin Booker play, they're 5-0. Without Bradley Beal, with just Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they have not lost a game. They're 5-0. And even with the big three, they're 8-3. Then Kevin Durant got hurt after their Mavericks team that they won. And there was a stretch where Devin Booker and Bradley Beal were together. And in those 5 games, they went 1-4. So without Kevin Durant, things fell off a cliff. 1-4. Then they had a stretch where Bradley Beal also missed time, and it was just Devin Booker out there. And in those games, they went 0-5. So when just Devin Booker, they did not win a single game. Then KD came back. They won a couple games. Then now they're on a stretch with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. Devin Booker has missed a couple games due to a groin injury, I want to say. And in this stretch with Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, they're 1-4. So in totality, when Kevin Durant plays, Kevin Durant is 14-7. In his 21 games, Kevin Durant is 14-7. So he's been super, super valuable. Devin Booker in his 26 games, 14-12. Still pretty solid. Bradley Beal, in the 21 games Bradley Beal's played, they're 10-11. So interestingly enough, when Bradley Beal plays, they're not winning games. With just Booker and Beal, in games where it's been Booker and Beal or Booker and KD, they're 2-8. So when Bradley Beal is out there with one of the other stars and not all three of them, they don't win games. Interestingly enough, even though I feel like Bradley Beal is having a very solid season still. He's giving you 19, 3-3 on 49, 39, 77. Defensively, he's been solid. Like, Bradley Beal, I feel like, isn't having a bad season at all. But when you look at in terms of wins and losses and that stuff, he hasn't really been contributing to winning, apparently. It's very interesting. When Kevin Durant plays, they're 14-7. So basically, the recipe is have KD and Book. Because when KD and Book are out there, they don't really lose that much. When you take one of them out and have Bradley Beal when Bradley Beal is the second option, they aren't good, which is interesting. Look at the depth on this team; it's not bad at all. I mean, Tyus Jones, I feel like, is having a solid year. Royce O'Neal is shooting 44% from 3. Grayson Allen hasn't really had the same impact as he did last year, but I feel like he's been starting to pick it up a little by little. Josh Okogie gives you decent minutes, especially recently. I feel like he's been pretty solid. Ryan Dunn has fallen. He had a crazy hot start. He's slowly falling down. Monte Morris is decent. He's not shooting the ball super well, though. Mason Plumlee's a decent center. Oso Gardaro has had some decent, minutes. But they're not going crazy with depth like a Celtics or a Grizzlies or a Thunder. They're not loaded like that in terms of the depth. And it's really showing right now that they don't really have that much because literally they need all 3 of their guys on the court to win games. As soon as you take one of them out, especially one of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, they can't win. And it's just interesting to me. It's very interesting how much they kind of fall off a cliff a little bit when one of those two aren't playing. And now you look at Bradley Beal and you're like, hey, the rumors about trading him for Jimmy Butler, maybe they should explore that a little bit more in-depthly. Because, well, we all know Jimmy Butler in the regular season. Jimmy Butler in the regular season has his moments. Sometimes he feels like playing. Sometimes there's moments where he's okay with taking 7 shots and having 7 points and whatever, But maybe, obviously it probably would be an upgrade in terms of Jimmy Butler can have a higher ceiling than Bradley Beal. In terms of when Jimmy Butler is the type of guy, when he wants to take over a game, he can take over a game. But when he wants to go out and win this game, he's going to do it. And I feel like he does a lot more of the little things than Bradley Beal. He does a lot more in terms of, all right, I'm going to facilitate. I'm going to defend at a high level. I'm going to go out and get this extra offensive rebound. I'm going to get to the free throw line. Like, do that. It could probably help your paint scoring, get some more free throws in there. Bradley Beal only takes 2 free throws per game. So get more at the line. It's not going to help your three-point shooting at all, really. But, sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice, especially when you have Kevin Durant, Royce O'Neal, and Tyus Jones are all 40+% three-point shooters. And we know Devin Booker, even though he's not having a great shooting year statistically from 3, we know what Devin Booker could do from the 3-point line. Same as Grayson Allen. He's not having a great statistic 3-point shooting here, where we know Grayson Allen can have games where he hits 7 or 8 threes. Um, so maybe the more and more you look at it, the more and more maybe Jimmy Butler kind of makes sense for this team. Maybe that could be something they actually should look into a lot more and consider. Because Bradley Beal apparently is not really helping too much. Like, I feel like he's been good with his role, but I also do get the feeling, and he had a couple games, the last couple ones that he's tried. I think, what game was it? Was it the Mavericks game? There was one game, or the Warriors game yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I think. He had like 20 something in the first half, but didn't really do much in the second half. I think there's another game that he had like 27, 28 points in that one. So he's been trying to kind of break out, but I feel like he's been so molded now to kind of being the third guy on the totem pole that now when it gets back to being the second guy on the totem pole, he just hasn't really been able to fully. He's been good, but he hasn't been maybe the spark in the Bradley Beal that they have needed, in those situations when they need remnants of the old Washington Beal that can go help give you 28 to 30 points, and we need to win these games. He hasn't been able to do that. I think his season high is 28. You know, so he has been able to do that. Did Jimmy Butler really change a lot of this team? I don't know. Maybe it gives you more consistency. Maybe it's a higher ceiling guy, and when he gets to the playoffs, we already know what Jimmy Butler's about. In the postseason, add that with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. That's a deadly kind of combination in the playoffs. Three guys that can go out and get you 30 to 40 if they need you in any given game. So that would be nice. That would be cool to see. But yeah, it's just the Phoenix Suns have been so interesting. They've been so weird because we don't really know who's gonna play. We never know what's in there, and the depth just hasn't been really great. The defense has kind of been falling down a little bit, and they got to pick it up in this tough Western Conference. I mean, obviously we're not even in 2025 yet, and it's not like they're boldly like they win two more games and they go back up to the 8 seed. So it's not like they're fully out of it or anything like that. But they're definitely gonna have to start getting healthy and winning some more games because this Western Conference is not something to play around with. You end up sticking the play-in, you might have to match up against an OKC in the first round, and I don't know how many teams want to do that, especially a team like the Suns who have championship expectations on this team. So yeah, interesting to see what's gonna happen the rest of the year. Hopefully they stay healthy because when they stay healthy, they just are another team you have to worry about add into this insane Western Conference mix. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they've been just one of the most confusing teams to kind of figure out so far this season. Yeah, it's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, liking, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.